I never thought a creative outlet would become the wedge that tore us apart. It all started innocently enough. My wife, Alana, had been feeling restless. After 5 years of marriage and a steady but predictable life, she confessed she needed something more, something just for her. "I want to take an acting class," she said one evening over dinner. "Nothing serious. Just to shake off the cobwebs." I didn't see any harm in it. If anything, I encouraged her. Life had gotten a little too routine for both of us. We worked, we paid bills, we occasionally went out. But the spark we had when we first met felt distant, buried under years of comfort and unspoken resentment. The class was downtown at a small independent theater. Twice a week. I noticed changes immediately. Her eyes lit up again, she laughed more. She started dressing a little differently on class days, too, more vibrant, more deliberate. She'd come home animated, telling me about the exercises they did, the scenes they worked on. Her favorite part, she told me once, was the emotional vulnerability of it all. That should have been my first red flag. After a month, I started noticing a name that came up more often in her stories: Micah. "Micah said I really connected with the scene tonight. Micah gave me the lead in this improv exercise." Always Micah. So I asked, casually, "Is Micah your acting partner or something?" She hesitated. Just a second too long. "Oh, he's just one of the teachers. Really talented. Super passionate about theater." Micah. The acting teacher. Passionate. Of course. I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just a harmless crush. Everyone has them, right? But then came the nights she was staying late for extra rehearsals. The makeup that was just a bit too fresh when she walked in at 10 p.m. The unexplained Uber charges on her phone when I thought she drove herself. It was a Friday when everything changed. I got off work early, a rare half-day. She'd texted me in the morning to say she had rehearsal that evening, and not to wait up. So I drove down to the theater, thinking maybe I'd surprise her. Maybe I'd catch a glimpse of her in her element, maybe it would help me understand what was pulling her away. The lobby was mostly dark, but I heard voices echoing from the back room. I walked in as quietly as I could, stepping behind the heavy curtains that separated the rehearsal space. And that's when I saw them. Her hands cupping his face, his fingers tangled in her hair, both of them pressed up against a backdrop meant to resemble a kitchen wall. They didn't see me. Not at first. They were too caught up in whatever fantasy they'd created. I just stood there, frozen, feeling like I'd been hit with something heavy. There was nothing theatrical about the way she kissed him. It wasn't part of a scene. There was no audience. No script. Just betrayal. I backed away, careful not to make a sound. I couldn't confront her, not like that. I needed time. I needed space to figure out what the hell I was going to do. She got home around 11:15 p.m. that night, same as usual. She was glowing, radiant. "Long night," she sighed, toeing off her shoes. "We're working on this amazing two-person scene. I feel like I finally nailed the emotion." I stared at her for a moment, wondering how someone could lie so seamlessly. I didn't say anything. I just nodded, smiled, and said, "Glad you had fun." But that night, I slept in the guest room. It's strange how quickly the mind adapts to pain when it's marinated in silence. The next morning, Alana was all smiles, brewing coffee like she hadn't just destroyed the foundation of our marriage. I watched her from the kitchen doorway, the way she moved, so familiar and yet now completely foreign. Every gesture she made felt rehearsed, performed like she was playing the role of the loving wife with just enough conviction to fool the untrained eye. But I wasn't untrained anymore. I spent the weekend pretending. Pretending not to know, pretending that nothing had changed. I needed time to collect myself, to process. I started going through her things, not in anger, but in necessity. I wasn't looking for more proof. I already had that. I was looking for understanding. What I found was worse than I expected. There were journal entries, stashed in a password-protected folder on her laptop. The password was our wedding date. Micah makes me feel alive. He sees me in a way Tom never did. When we're on stage, it's like we're the only two people in the world. I closed the laptop, sick with myself for even reading it. But also more resolute than ever. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I started making plans. I met with a lawyer. Quietly canceled the anniversary trip she'd already forgotten about. Moved half of our savings into a separate account under my name. By the time Thursday rolled around, the night of her next class, I had my plan in place. I told her I was going to be working late, which she accepted without hesitation. She kissed me on the cheek as she left, smelling faintly of something new. Something expensive and not for me. I waited 15 minutes, then drove to the theater. I didn't go in. I just waited. Eventually, the lights dimmed, and I saw them step out, her and Micah. They were laughing, her hand brushing against his arm like she didn't have a ring on her finger. He leaned in close, whispered something in her ear, and she nodded, glancing around like a teenager sneaking out. I followed them, staying 2 cars back. They ended up at a boutique hotel, the kind where they don't even ask for IDs if you slip the front desk a little extra. I parked across the street and just sat there. Watching. Waiting. An hour passed. Maybe 2. And then I left. I didn't need to see them emerge. I didn't need to know how the evening ended. I already did. The next morning, I served her the papers. She was still in her bathrobe when she opened the envelope. "Tom," she asked, confused, eyes scanning the first few lines. Then her face drained of color. "I saw you," I said simply. "Last Friday. And again last night. You don't have to explain." She tried. Of course she did. She cried, promised it didn't mean anything, said it had just happened. She said she didn't want to lose me. That it was a mistake, that she still loved me. But I just stood there. Empty. Numb. Not because I didn't care, but because I had finally stopped hoping. "You wanted something more, Alana. Now you have it." I packed a suitcase that afternoon. Not because she asked me to leave, but because I couldn't breathe in that house anymore. Every room felt tainted. Every memory undercut by a lie. It's been 6 months now. She emailed a few times at first, always at night. The messages got shorter, more desperate. I never replied. I didn't block her either. I wanted her to sit with the silence, to feel the absence. I started therapy. Got back into photography. I even enrolled in a creative writing class at the same theater, different instructor. Funny how life circles back. Sometimes I walk past the place where I first saw them together. I don't feel hate anymore. Just a quiet ache, like a song that once meant something but now just fills the background. She wanted a story worth telling. An affair with an acting teacher. Passion. Rebirth. Drama. But in the end, all she did was write me out of the script. And this time, I won't be auditioning for a comeback.